Hi, my name is Poe. I'm 19, and my entire life has been basically, pain, hell, tragedy, all of that kind of thing. And I want to talk about that a little. But I want to give you guys, the background information. So, a really quick version of my life would be before I was even born, my dad died in a car accident almost 5 months exactly before I was born. Um, when I was, and my mom considers him the love of her life or something, and so it did hurt pretty bad. But I was 18 months old, I was taken into foster care, um, along with my middle brother, AJ, and we were in foster care for 6 years. And during this time, I don't have a whole lot of memories, um, but it wasn't the worst part of my life for sure, but it wasn't great. And I feel like that is my entire childhood just gone. So really didn't get much of a childhood. And then when we got out of foster care, my mom and my brother, my middle brother AJ, I have an older brother too. Um, they fought a lot, and I would hide during these fights, but like she was not treating him very well, hitting him and berating him, and so my brother didn't like to be home. And I think the only reason he came back sometimes was for me. He was my best friend and the person I looked up to most. And he struggled. He was struggling so much. So when I was 9-ish, we were evicted, and I was homeless for the first time. I lived with a friend before we found another place, you know, um, and I didn't see much of my brother, I didn't see much of my mom. I was just going to school like normal, not too big of a deal, you know. And then we moved into a house in Madison, Tennessee. And this was 2009, and my eldest brother is in prison at this time. My middle brother is a mess. Um, and I really only had one friend. I spent most of my time inside, locked inside, from the inside. There was no way to get out sometimes other than putting out a window. So I was pretty isolatory. Um, and then, yeah, I was being bullied in school at this point. Not too bad, you know. Not as bad as it got later on in middle school. But I didn't have a whole lot of friends though. Um, when I was about 11, or when I was 11, my brother, was killed, or my brother passed away, and I didn't think much of it getting into the car and going to the hospital because I had been used to that. Um, my brother had overdosed several times. I'd witnessed that, and being severely hurt in other kinds of ways, going to the hospital. But the day he died, I was laughing and fooling around until the moment the doctor walked into the room and told us he was gone, or he was going to be gone, you know. And it was really from then on that I think everything was awful. You know, there were things that were bad, but I think it became irreparably awful after that. For me, for him, it had been horrible for years, and I didn't know it. I wasn't old enough to be aware. I wasn't old enough to know what was going on with my brother, that he was trying to kill himself every time he overdosed. Um, and then, you know, my mom, when I was about 12, started turning her abuse towards me. And so I'm going to school, I'm going through grief, I am being bullied in school, my grades are slipping, I can't keep it up, I can't, keep going like I was going and succeed in any way. And I became severely suicidal at about 12. And I tried to run away, but my mom caught me. And after that was the first time I really sought out trying to kill myself. I never made it to an attempt so bad that I went to the hospital or anything, but like very close. At 12, and things keep going like this, school not going well, my emotions are off the handle, I'm completely isolated, essentially, because my best friend moved away, my only friend moved away, my brother. And my brother had just died, and when I started high school at 14, I was really hopeful things would be better, but they really didn't get any better. I did make friends in high school, and I wasn't bullied anymore, except by the teachers. But I was on and off homeless all during this time, and not even always because we didn't have a place. My mom was hoarding, and at some points, it got so bad that I didn't have a place to sleep. So I was sleeping outside, sleeping on lawn chairs or in the back of a truck, or for a while I lived with a friend, another friend, and around puberty is when my chronic pain, around 14, is when my chronic pain really started getting really bad. And I started puberty a little earlier than that, and the symptoms did start, but it was really at 14 that they started getting really bad, my pain, and they only got increasingly worse as I went throughout high school, and my doctors weren't listening to me, and my teachers weren't listening to me. I was begging for help, I was begging for accommodations for my mental problems, for my physical problems, and I was only being told I just needed to work harder, and when I was 15, the house we'd had in Madison burned down, and my mom and I got in this huge fight, and it was the final straw. The second she put her hands on me in that fight, I pulled out a knife and I told her I was going to kill her if she ever put her hands on me again. And I spent 3 days in juvenile, being told that she had the right to do whatever she wanted because she was my mother, and that the only thing I could do with it was stay with her or go back into foster care, basically. And I think this was really the time my mom started emotionally abusing me, convincing me that we were fine, there was nothing wrong, and I was over-exaggerating or whatever, and that if I would hurt her, I was just so horrible. And it went on like that, and I was in a really bad place, and I'm still in a really bad place, but I was in a horrible place then. I was constantly suicidal, and I was failing my classes constantly, barely scraping by at the end of the year with extra credit and stuff like that, and I was begging for help, begging for time off school, and I was ignored. I was told I was so smart, I just needed to work harder. I was working as hard as I could, and I was getting constantly sick and in constant pain and wanting to die, and still being on and off homeless during all of this, and when I was 16-ish, may have been almost 17, a family member bought me a camper, and yes, I mean a camper, like the thing you hook onto a back of a truck and take to a campsite, and put it in my mom's backyard with no electricity, no running water. Nobody was living in the house. It was unlivable. And I had to go through the house, the disgusting, unlivable house, to go to the bathroom if I wanted to go to the bathroom. And I didn't have lights at night. I didn't have air conditioning. I didn't have heat. And so I'm going to school during all this. And I'm begging for help. I had to go, by the time it got to my senior year, where I'm still living in this camper, right? I had to go to a teacher and tell her I was about to kill myself, because I would have killed myself. And the teacher sent me to guidance, and guidance told me to take a nap. And I was working. I had gotten a job as soon as I turned 18. And all of this was coming together, and I was failing. By the time senior year rolled around, I had scraped by my other classes, but senior year was really hard on me, and I failed. At one point, I was failing every single one of my classes, all of them. And I did scrape up passing grades for just enough of them, except one. If I had scraped up just a D for my health class, I would have passed. But she wasn't being, and the rest of my teachers were being understanding. That was the thing. My teacher that I had gone to, she had gone to them and told them that I needed more time, I needed more help, and so I scraped up D's, maybe not the best grades, but they would have been enough to graduate. But instead, I spent graduation night alone in my camper, wanting to die and self-harming, and it was bad. And I was blowing it off like it wasn't hurting, but not graduating hurt, because my dream was to go to Vanderbilt or UTK and become an anthropologist. That's all I ever wanted. And I knew that wasn't going to happen. It wasn't possible. And it devastated me. I still couldn't have handled college in the state I was. I can't handle college now. But, yeah. I finally got put on a medicine that was supposed to handle my pain, but eventually, I told you guys it stopped working, so I'm not on it anymore. And at this point, I can't get myself up and down stairs. I don't know why, but I have to have help to get up and down stairs, because it hurts so badly. And the reason I'm telling you guys all this is not to make you feel sorry for me. It's just so you guys have some background information. Because currently, I need a job. I just lost my work. Not by anything I did. It was a company change, but I can't work. I really can't. I can't get myself up and downstairs. I have to lay down so much, or I get in pain. I get nauseous. I get so sick. And I can't get a diagnosis because I can't get a doctor to actually listen to me, because they boil it all down to anxiety or psychosomatic pain, and and also I don't have insurance, so gastro testing for why I'm throwing up would be super expensive. But if I can get some kind of diagnosis, I'm gonna try to get disability. I do want to work, I've been working. At 14, I was changing adult diapers, and, well, I didn't tell you guys that part. I was changing adult diapers, living in the country, and I was completely isolated when I was there. There was nobody. It was just me and the person I was taking care of, and I didn't have any internet, no way to talk to anyone. And stuff like that is why now socializing takes so much of my energy. But yeah, I've been working for a long time. I like to work. I don't want people to hand me money. I like to feel good about earning my money. But yeah, I get a lot of you should write a book. You're so inspirational. And on the flip side, I also get you're just lazy and you just want handouts and you just want people to feel bad for you. And it's a mess. But people have gotten really into inspiration porn culture. Um, and so when somebody has a life of tragedy that somebody else doesn't understand, it like, I don't know, they kind of use this as their inspiration porn. And it's like comments like, your pain makes you stronger, your experiences have made you stronger and more empathetic. But really, all my experiences have made me miserable constantly. They've made me suicidal, they've made me want to die. You know, it's not inspirational. There's nothing inspirational about my story. I I've barely survived, let alone, you know, overcome. I haven't overcome anything. I've just barely been surviving. I don't even consider what I've been doing as living, really. And I don't know. I just I'm tired. I'm so tired of everything. And I'm tired of sleeping alone. And I'm tired of being too much for people. My pain is so much for other people to handle because a lot of them haven't been through it. You know, and the people who have can't handle my pain any better than I can. And I feel so alone all of the time. And I hate sleeping alone. And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this. I'm sick of this idea that I should try to think positive and try to look at the bright side. There is no bright side. You know, pain doesn't make you stronger, it just makes you hurt. It just makes you tired and lost and it's just suffering, you know. It's not a good thing. There is no bright side to it, in my opinion. You know, if you go through it and you want to look at the bright side, that's good, you know. But I'm tired of people who haven't been through it saying that kind of thing, saying it makes you stronger, saying, you know, now you're more empathetic. I was empathetic before. My brother was empathetic. I know people who've never been through tragedy and are so empathetic, you know? There's no good in it. And there's no bright side to it. And it feels like you're lost in the dark. And you can't find your way out, and nobody can help you out. I don't know. I don't know. It's a mess. I'm a mess. And what happened the other day with my mom really did put me over the edge. You know, I was doing a lot better. I was handling things so much better. But right now I'm so lost, and I'm in so much pain, and I don't feel like I'm living. I feel like I'm just barely scraping by, barely surviving. And I don't know what to do, because I don't have the ability to sustain myself. You know, she's got that financial power over me. But she doesn't even want me. She wants someone I've never been and someone I'll never be. And she said so herself, that if I can't be who she wants, that we're not family anymore. But I'm still trapped here. I don't know. I wish pain and suffering like this didn't exist. It doesn't do any good, you know? It just makes you hurt. It makes you spend the rest of your life feeling unlovable, feeling like a burden, and wishing things had gone differently and wishing people you loved were still here. I don't know. Whatever. Peace.